Hello, Rachel VanDuzer.
Hey, Luke O'Reilly, what's up?
It's been a while since we filmed one of these.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah.
It was April, our last video?
It was April. It's been a while. So
Yeah.
what has been going on in your personal life? How are things?
It's great. Yeah, it's been an amazing year.
You've had a lot of very good things happen for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
lots of great things. This summer I did a lot of travel. It all kind of happened at one time. I went to Italy, which was amazing, spent some time in Rome, and then kind of went around Tuscany, and that was just incredible.
Yeah, the pictures looked incredible.
Yeah, the food, oh my God, I think I gained like 5 pounds coming back from that trip.
That's
the amount
interesting,
of
'cause
pasta and pizza.
I've heard that people that go to Italy and like crush it in food end up coming back and they've lost weight.
I don't know. I think I just had way too much burrata. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure what happened, but anyways, that was an incredible trip. Went to Seattle for a friend's wedding. That was super special. And then I went to Ireland to visit some family. There was a family wedding out there, and I got the surprise of a lifetime.
Yeah.
We were traveling from Dublin up north to where the wedding was. We stopped at a viewpoint, and who was at the viewpoint but my boyfriend, and he then became my fiance, and he proposed on the top of a mountain in Ireland in front of my whole family. And yeah, I'll be getting over that for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So that was amazing.
The pictures from that are just incredible.
Aw, thanks.
Yeah.
I called you from the car. You were
Yeah.
one of my first calls.
Yeah, I was at the mall in Mapleview and I got the call from you. Yeah.
Yeah. What about you? What's been going on?
Yeah, there's been some fun stuff for us as well. So we're expecting our second baby, a little girl.
So exciting.
Girl dad. We're due in February. So the pregnancy's been going really well, which is great. Our daughter's turning 5.
Can't believe that.
Like in less than 2 weeks, which is crazy. It feels like she's been with us forever, but at the same time, it's like how 5 years just flown by.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the summer was like, I've been really busy with work, but in the summer we spent lots of time with family and friends, and my in-laws have a place in Parry Sound, so we tried to get up there when we could just to enjoy the northern life. And at the end of August, we went away to Bermuda for the last week of August before our daughter was back in school.
Yeah.
So,
I'm glad you were able to do that. Squeeze that trip in.
it was really nice. It had been a while since we had been away like that. So
Totally.
It was great. And loved Bermuda too. Highly recommend it. to
Never
everybody.
been. Need to go.
Yeah, quick flight, and just beautiful.
Yeah.
It was really nice. Beaches were incredible. Water was great. Loved
Nice.
it. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. So like I said earlier, it's been a while since we filmed one of these videos. It's been 6 to 7 months. So what's been happening in your real estate world?
It's been a really good year. I would say, I don't think it's a surprise that we kind of stopped filming. Things got busy, and April is when our last video was, and that was my, I think, busiest month in 2025.
Yeah, you had a great April.
It was a really, really good month.
Yep.
April through June was pretty active. It kind of slowed in September, and now it's picking up again in October, which is great. Worked with a lot of first-time home buyers, some downsizers, investors, worked with a bunch of different, clientele, which was wonderful. But really the general theme throughout the year has really been about how to time this crazy, interesting market
So
that
true.
we're in.
Yeah.
And we're having those conversations with people all the time.
Yeah.
And one particular success story that I had was really the conversations around in April again, because we had the federal election here, and there was just seemed like a lull in the market because people were trying to time whether to list prior to the election or after.
Yeah.
And it seemed like a lot of people were waiting until after the fact. So when I was dealing with the listing I had on Hess Street South, which was like a luxury listing in the Durand neighborhood, we made the strategic decision to decide to list, prior to the election because we felt like it was a bit of a rare offering for the area, double lot, double car garage, dead end street.
You timed it so well.
It worked so
Yeah,
well. And we
yeah.
were only on the market for 10 days in the luxury market competing offers. So
Yeah.
I'm really, really proud of that. And I'm so thrilled that it was such a fantastic result. And it's just interesting, but timing really has been a general theme in terms of what the conversations I've been having.
Another thing I wanted to give you a shout out on
Oh,
that
God.
from a management perspective was the fact that you knew that that was going to be coming up. And the previous year when the lot was, you didn't know when for sure you were going to be going to market, but
Yeah.
the previous year when the lot looked amazing with all the foliage and the pool was open and
that's
everything.
right.
We had our photography team go in and do photography and videography, and
That's
we
right.
listed it in April when everything is still very brown, but
Yeah.
we had the foresight to think of that, and buyers were able to see what that lot really can be realized to its full potential.
Totally.
So that was a
thanks.
good call.
Thank you.
Nice job.
What about you? What have you been experiencing?
So since our last video in April, I had a very busy April through July, like worked with a ton of different people. And then I found August always has gone a little bit quiet.
Last month of the summer.
Last month of the summer, kids going back to school soon, families going away on vacation. It's hot. The market just was a little bit quiet. We had a few things click together, but it wasn't an overly busy month. And
Yeah.
then September is always a little bit of a question mark. You think it's the beginning of the fall market that things are going to pick up, but September did feel a little bit light as well. And then into October. October's been a fantastic month. It's been incredibly busy.
It's been a good month for us. Yeah.
We've worked with a variety of clients on my side, lots of people upsizing, downsizing. We've had some people sell their homes and that had moved out here during the pandemic, sell and move back to Toronto. We've had some people relocate to Hamilton. We've had a few power of sales, which is a situation, unfortunately, where somebody stops paying their mortgage and then the bank ends up selling it.
Yeah.
So we've had 3 of those listings this year since April. And we've had some people sell and move into retirement residences or long-term care. Unfortunately, we've had a few estate sales this year as well. Really just a total variety. Investors as well, a total variety of clients that we've worked with.
Yeah.
Now, this has been our personal experience, but what are the stats saying if we're looking at stats from our real estate board?
Yeah, so in terms of average sale price in Hamilton currently, we are around $781,000 for average sale price. This is inclusive of condominiums and freehold properties.
Yeah.
Just as a bit of a guiding post too, in January at the beginning of this year, we were at $763,000. So really, that's like a true seasonal market back in January. Not a huge shift, really. We have kind of been hovering within that kind of the high 700s to 800,000s for the year. The market peak in June was $829,000, and that was the one and only time this year that we cracked the $800,000 mark. And
Right.
I mean, that could be indicative of a lot of, higher end properties finally closing or, selling. The market really did stay relatively consistent with the ebbs and flows of the seasonal market throughout. In terms of days on market, right now we're sitting around 39 days. We have the figures, that's from October. The most active months this year were April through June, and days on market was anywhere between 31 to 33 days on market. So again, not a huge spread. In terms of list price to sale price ratio, things are selling for about 98% of what they are listed for throughout majority of the year. Now, September and October, around 97%. So again, not a huge major change.
Yeah, one of the other things that you and I were thinking about when we were talking about filming this video,
Yeah.
and we were looking at the stats specifically, was more so around, okay, it's been really interesting navigating this market from the pandemic, just the huge surge in activity, average pricing, and then with interest rates climbing, the market going in the opposite direction. Where are we at right now compared to just before the pandemic, right
Right.
at the end of 2019? So we looked up some of that information. I have some stats to share, which I think are particularly interesting because there's been lots of discussion in the media about downward pressure on the market. So in terms of number of active listings compared to previous years, right now there are 74% more active listings available in Hamilton and Burlington compared to the same month in 2019.
It's a big number.
Which is interesting. Yeah, I think it was somewhere around 18 to 1900 listings in 2019 in October compared to over 3,000 right now.
Right.
So there's a lot more inventory to choose from. Number of sales, we're down about 39% right now, last month compared to October of 2019. But what's really interesting is about average pricing, and I think some people lose perspective on this. Particularly, it's interesting for those that didn't buy or sell throughout the pandemic and are maybe in the same house.
Right.
Average pricing right now is 40% higher compared to where it was at the end of 2019.
I mean, that's positive.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to get that perspective.
And have you noticed any particular, segments of the market that are typically, I don't know, more hot or cold comparing to one another?
Yeah, I would say right now, apartment style condos have been really cold.
Yeah.
We've had some firsthand experiences with that.
Yeah.
Townhomes as well can be particularly soft. There's certain geographic areas as well, like on the Hamilton Mountain right now, with just the kind of urban sprawl of all of those bungalows and 1.5 stories that were built in the 40s through 60s. There seems to be so much inventory that's available right now. So some of that market segment can be a little bit cold. But then there's other segments of the market where there's rare offerings that come up that can be particularly active as well.
And then how would you say pricing strategies have changed over the last few months?
Pricing strategies are extremely important right now, and there definitely has been a change. Previously, we would focus really on comparable sales in a particular area, and that would kind of act as a benchmark on pricing. And then maybe what we would do, we have a little visitor. Heidi just came back from a walk and is now
in the video, wants to be a part of the video.
I think it's gonna be hard to, I think she's being lured by a treat. So
there we go.
Before we would look at sales, I think, to establish some sort of pricing as a benchmark. Now what I'm finding is really important is because there's so much inventory, those sales are great to act as a bit of a baseline, but it's really important to focus on what you're specifically competing against from a competition standpoint, and then being really strategic with that. Those are the homes that are moving, and those are the sellers that are finding success. Why do you think that the market is performing the way that it is right now?
Throughout this year, I think there has just been so much uncertainty. And there's a lot of anxiety that I think people are feeling. And a lot of that has to do with the geopolitical situation, with the instability of the looming threat of tariffs from the US, and then also the international wars that we are seeing throughout the media cycles and everything that is happening, which is, it's bleak. It's hard to watch, it's hard to listen to, and real estate does not exist in a bubble. Things that happen internationally will directly affect what is happening locally in the market.
Yeah.
There is downward pressure being applied.
We've definitely seen a correlation on that over the last
it's huge.
while, for sure.
It's huge. And also, you have to consider what people are able to tolerate with themselves. If people are feeling anxious, they're probably not prepared to make a huge decision like buying or selling real estate, which is one of the largest purchases or sales you can ever have in your life. So I think there have been lots of conversations where we are sympathetic to that fact. And also too, I think unemployment rates in Ontario, we are at 7.8%, which is, I think, the highest it's been since 2012, excluding the pandemic kind of period. But that's not a small number. And I think a lot of people are, feeling that squeeze when it comes to their income, and people are looking for jobs. And when you're looking for jobs, you're not looking for houses. So I think that is something that is directly affecting the market currently. What have you been seeing?
Well, the Bank of Canada, I think, has been a huge contributor. In 2022, Bank of Canada, the overnight rate started to go up pretty significantly, and it caused the pricing to fall by about 25%. Then the last couple of years, 23, 24, and some of 25, in a way, it's been kind of mirror years of each other, where in the winter, average pricing was low, and then things went up into the summer, and then pricing came back down again. So we've definitely seen that. But it was interesting because inflation was the main concern on why rates ended up going up. And the inflation numbers just came out, and inflation was over 2% in Canada, and it was 3% in the States. I think that the main reason for that is related to tariffs. And so I think the government now is more focused on stimulating the economy rather than tackling inflation. Inflation is directly correlated to the tariff issues. Another thing that's interesting in our area specifically is we have not seen the Toronto buyers coming out to our area in droves that they once were.
No.
So that market has dried up a little bit. There's still the occasional person that's coming out, but it's more so going the opposite direction. And then mortgages are coming up for renewal. There's a lot of those mortgages that were written or renewed in 2020 and 2021 at rock bottom rates. and a lot of those people did 5-year fixed mortgages. Those mortgages are now coming up for renewal this year and into next year.
Yes.
So it'll be interesting to see what that means for the mortgage delinquency rates and whether or not that will go up, if we'll see more power of sales. We have seen more power of sales in 2025 compared to previous years. Not in crazy alarming numbers. Actually, if you compare to around 2009 to 2011, the mortgage delinquency rate at that point was actually higher than where it's at right now. I don't know if that's going to stay. 2026 is going to be a really interesting year for that. How are people finding success right now, specifically sellers?
For sellers, I mean, we're kind of a broken record when it comes to this, but really it comes back to strategic pricing, sharp pricing, having a property in excellent condition so it shows well to prospective buyers, and a really strong marketing plan. I think now more than ever, we are always recommending sharp and strategic pricing strategies. However, again, back on what you said previously, it's about really looking at what you're competing against. If you are in a neighborhood with a lot of listings and a lot is currently active and there is a lot that you are competing against, it's imperative that you look at how can you have the competitive edge? You have to position yourself within everything you're competing against. So that's huge. What types of properties are drawing the most attention right now, would you say?
There are definitely properties out there that still, despite the overall market conditions out there, are getting lots of attention. I would say one-of-a-kind homes that come up for sale in an area where there's very low inventory regardless of what's happening out there. And properties that are priced really well. Those are the ones that are still moving and are getting lots of attention.
Absolutely.
Now, with you working with buyers as an example, or even on some of your listings that you're handling, what are some trends that you're seeing with offers that you're writing or that are coming across the table?
I mean, a common trend that we are seeing, when working with a seller, we are seeing a lot of offers coming in quite low across the board. People start low. The market is kind of favoring buyers right now. So really, when having that conversation with sellers, usually if it was a more robust market and a market that favored sellers, we would really be having the conversation of, is this an offer you even want to entertain? Should we reject it outright? And now in today's market, it's really, okay, no, I think we should try and work with this. Let's see if we can reach common ground, have a meeting of the minds. And if we can't, sure, at least we tried, but an offer in this market is better than nothing. And that's kind of the conversations that we are having with sellers. When working with buyers, again, we're seeing a lot of conditions, things that favor the buyer. So the typical financing and home inspection conditions. And we are seeing some sale of property conditions as well. We are seeing sellers entertaining that more in today's market.
Right. So what's one thing that you're finding that's working really well right now for your clients?
Market education. It's really about staying informed in the current market. Both you and I, we do regular market updates for our sellers. So at the end of each week, we provide an update with what has recently sold in their area, anything new that they are competing against so that they can keep their finger on the pulse of the market and really just stay informed throughout the process. And I think beyond that too, we are having conversations and setting expectations early that this is a market that may require multiple strategies. And if a seller is willing to adapt and be willing to have, multiple conversations throughout the process, usually it results in a successful sale. So I think adaptability is really important as well.
I think really paying a close attention to overall market conditions, the stats, and then also just an in-depth analysis of what's happening locally, nationally, and geopolitically. Because we're always paying attention to what's going on there. And if we notice that there's something happening in the world that will have a direct impact on one of our clients, we'll have those conversations so that we have the ability to pivot our strategy if we need to do so. And I think that's really important.
Absolutely.
Clear communication.
Is the luxury segment behaving differently than the broader market?
Yeah, the luxury market has been really interesting. Over the last 2 months in Hamilton and Burlington, there have been 29 sales reported over $2 million. So there are some sales that are happening. The highest of which was a $4 million sale just recently in Dundas, and it took about 4 months to sell. Now, from all those 29 sales, on average, they were taking about 60 days to sell. We'll have a couple of weeks where there will be no activity in the luxury market in terms of sales. And then as an example, either last week or the week previous, there were 3 that were reported. 2 in Dundas, one on Cayley, one on South, and then one on Mayfair by McMaster University. All over 3 million that all sold right around the same time. So it's interesting because it kind of goes, it ebbs and flows and it goes in lulls.
Yeah, sometimes no rhyme or reason for it too.
Yes. Now, we get asked this question all the time.
Okay.
I want to hear your take on it. Is right now the right time to buy or sell?
I mean, this will vary from seller to buyer. It's really case by case basis in terms of, what is happening in their life and on a personal scale and level. If you are a seller, I think there are still opportunities to be had, especially if you feel you have a rare offering for the area and you don't feel like there's a lot of competition in your area as well. That could be a great opportunity to hit the market, prior to the end of the calendar year. And further, really, again, we're a broken record, but it comes to prep. It's excellent prep, making sure the house is clean, decluttered, staged, if that is an option. We're huge advocates for that. So really having those conversations. And then further, if speaking to a buyer, there are some amazing opportunities to be had. So if the inventory is out there and there are things that are jumping out at you and it's in line with your search criteria, it's not the time to delay, and there could be some really, really fantastic deals to be had.
Yeah, I've had some seller clients myself ask, when are things going to improve? Because they're trying to time it. They want to make a move, but they're feeling like things are a little bit soft. And the answer to that is I just don't know when things are going to really pick up. I think that for the foreseeable future, things are going to feel just like this. I think it's going to be pretty consistent into 26 and then into 27. And I think that it really comes down to if right now is the right time personally for each individual person. And if that's the case, then it comes down to strategy.
Absolutely. And I think the thing to remember as a seller too is if there's this concept that they have in their minds of waiting till spring of 2026, the thing to remember is I think a lot of sellers may be having that same mindset. So you could be competing against a lot more of just general inventory, but also inventory that may just look exactly like the product that you are selling. So that's something to consider as well. So again, it's back to positioning yourself in the market that we're in.
And actually, just speaking about that, that reminds me of Hess. Your listing on Hess from April, because like you said, you had listed it at such a time where a couple of weeks later, after the property was sold, a ton of inventory.
So much.
The most in a long time that I've seen in that neighborhood, in that price point, all came out at the same time. And those properties were all competing against each other. And it's more of a niche market.
Totally.
And therefore, some of them didn't even sell. They came off the market. But timing is everything.
Everything. So where do you think things are going?
Yeah, I think things are going to feel pretty consistent into 2026. I've heard some analysts say that single family inventory is going to tighten. I don't think that's the case. I think it's going to be very similar to where we're at. I could see more rental inventory coming to market, so putting a little bit of downward pressure on rental rates would be good for those people that are trying to find housing. But yeah, I think things are really going to feel pretty similar, and I think it will feel this way until we have some consistency with the U.S. administration, with tariffs, a deal is reached, and then we have some sort of roadmap and idea on where things are going to be heading economically. Because I think if there's some positive stories in the media related to that, then I think that will give some people confidence, because people are feeling uneasy right now.
Absolutely.
There are some people that don't want to make a move right in this exact moment based on everything that's happening. So I think there are certain people out there that are kind of in a wait and see phase. So if we have some consistency there, then I could see the market starting to maybe pick up a little bit. But another thing, I know this is a long answer, but I think that there are some people out there that are in our own industry, whether it's on the banking side or in real estate, that will say, oh yeah, rates are going down, so the market's going to take off. And I don't think that's the case.
I agree. I don't think so either.
I think pricing's probably going to stay pretty similar. We might see a slight increase. We might see a slight decrease, but I don't think it's going to go rapidly in either direction. So I think it's going to just feel pretty consistent.
There are too many factors at play, just as we kind of spoke about on, all of the different levels, local, regional, international, all of the geopolitical factors, inflation, downward pressure with unemployment. Interest rates are not everything. Yes, they help, but again, there's too much there's too much at play.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing to anticipate looking ahead is we're going to still see those regular seasonal shifts.
Yeah.
It's going to be slow at the beginning of the year, coming out of the holidays. Spring most likely uptick slightly, some general steady activity throughout the summer. But again, I think it'll slow again in August and September as well, when summer is ending and the kids are going back to school and all of those things. So definitely something to consider there.
Yeah. Well, a lot that we've chatted about today. There was a lot to cover because it's been so long.
We spoke about so much.
I'm so happy for everything that's been going well for you. I'm so excited for you for the next year. And looking forward to filming our next video, and hopefully we can do this a little bit more regularly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We will do our best.
That's great. Thanks.
Thank you.